Welcome back to Why You Do This and Don't Realize It. Today we're diving into something so common you might not even realize you're doing it half the time. So let's just jump right in. Why do we feel this constant need to explain ourselves? Oh man, does this sound familiar? It's that little dance we do, right? Before making a super simple request, we wrap it in all these layers of no pressure and I know you're busy, just to kind of soften the blow. You know the one. You start writing something that should be clear and direct, but then you pause and you start adding all these extra phrases and qualifiers, trying to manage how the other person might react. It's honestly exhausting. Okay, so this tendency, it's not just some quirky little habit you have. It often points to something a bit deeper. Let's actually put a name to this feeling so we can really start to get it. It's called over-explaining, and at its core, it's this impulse to give way more information than is needed. Not to be clearer, but out of this deep-seated fear of being judged or, rejected. And we have to be really clear here. This is not the same as just being a detail-oriented person or trying to be genuinely helpful. Those things usually come from a place of confidence. Over-explaining, well, the energy behind it is totally different. It's anxious. Yeah, it's a behavior that's actually being driven by this feeling of unease deep down. It's basically your brain going into overdrive, trying to solve for every single possible negative reaction before it even happens. So what's really going on here? What's driving this compulsion to just keep talking? Let's unpack the why behind all those extra words. When you really boil it all down, it comes back to these three huge fundamental social fears. We over-explain because we are terrified that if we're just simple and direct, we're going to be judged or rejected or just completely misunderstood. So think about it like this for a second. When you feel yourself starting to over-explain, you're not just tacking on extra sentences to an email. Something bigger is happening. You're actually unconsciously building this protective wall around yourself, brick by verbal brick. Every little justification, every extra detail, it's another layer of defense. And what are you defending yourself against? You're trying to shield your core self, your intentions, your needs, your feelings, from being misinterpreted and ultimately from being dismissed. And this right here, this is the belief that's really at the heart of the whole habit. It's this feeling that your internal reality just isn't enough on its own. The feeling that your no or your request is only okay if you can present this perfect, airtight case for it. This brings us to what I think is the most important part of our whole conversation today, because we're about to completely reframe how you think about this habit. First things first, let's just get this straight right here, right now. If you're an over-explainer, you are not broken. This is absolutely not a weakness or some fundamental flaw in your character. And here's the huge difference, right? Inside, it can feel like this personal failure, something to be kind of ashamed of. But what it really is, it's a protective strategy your mind came up with for a very good reason. So let's call it what it really is, a learned survival habit. It's a pattern of behavior that at some point in your life probably did keep you safe. It helped you deal with tricky situations where maybe your needs weren't just automatically respected. This habit didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It was a really smart adaptation. It was a tool you learned to use because somewhere along the way, you figured out that being direct and to the point, well, that felt risky. So, knowing all of this, where do we go from here? Well, it all starts with giving yourself permission. Permission to just be brief. Honestly, just understanding why you do this, that it's about protection, not a flaw, that alone is a game changer. That awareness is what gives you the space to maybe choose a different response next time. And the way forward isn't to get mad at yourself or try to force yourself to stop. No way. The real goal is to notice it with compassion. To be able to say to yourself, there's that old protective strategy. I see you. I get why you're here, but I might not need you right now. So I'm going to leave you with a question to sit with. What would it feel like to really, truly believe that your needs, your boundaries, and your feelings are valid just because they exist? No defense required at all.